A Christchurch homeowner says lengthy delays in resolving his earthquake insurance claim is destroying his finances and affecting his kids' health. More than 8 years after the quakes, government-owned insurer Southern Response is still processing 500 Canterbury earthquake claims. One of those claims is from Christchurch architect Bob Burnett, who is at his wits' end and is calling for a royal commission into the conduct of the insurance sector. Logan Chch went to meet him.
Welcome to my beautiful, epic, high-end architectural home.
Bob Burnett is a successful Christchurch architect who's won numerous awards and accolades. His family home in Cashmere, which he shares with his wife, a fellow architect, and 2 kids, is also award-winning, featuring in several architectural books. Those pictures show a sleek kitchen, modern bathrooms, natural stone cladding, but come the February 2011 earthquakes,
there was significant damage and we had to move out of this house.
Some of that damage included large cracking in the concrete walls and floors. But of course, this is all old news.
We thought it's a repair all day, every day in the beginning. And, you know, back in 2011, February 22nd, when we moved...
That was Checkpoint almost 3 years ago, when then opposition MPs Andrew Little and Megan Woods came to Bob's house to talk about policy changes they wanted to make if Labour got into power. But today, not much has changed at the house, after initial repair attempts were abandoned years ago. And there's no settlement yet with insurer Southern Response.
We've been in limbo, basically. You know, there's been lots of different engineering reports being done. There's been lots of long gaps between drinks where there's been not a lot happening.
Essentially, this house, which Bob admits has a complex design, looks exactly the same. Quake damage still visible, the flooring ripped up, internal cladding ripped off. Also, downstairs.
One thing I just wanted to talk about is the smell. There's an incredible smell in here, and that is from the toilets. Over time, the water has evaporated, it's gone, and we can smell directly what's coming out of the sewer.
I'll just take you upstairs, show you up there. Upstairs was our office and a meeting room.
This part of the house looks over the whole of Christchurch. The view is breathtaking. Bob is part of a class action against Southern Response. 24 homeowners were involved. And while 20 of those homeowners settled their claims in an alternative resolution process, Bob is not one of them. And he says that has had a massive impact on his family. Bob has 2 kids, Lenny and Sebastian, now 8 and 11. They have grown up in substandard rentals which were cold, damp and mouldy. Bob says there was no other accommodation at the time. They've developed quite serious asthma.
So when we moved out of the first rental, we had to clean the mould off our furniture and off the bottom of the leather sofa and stuff, so rising damp, and that home was almost impossible to heat, you know, even with dehumidifiers and heaters running because it was damp.
And money is another problem.
We've lost our home, but we've still got a massive mortgage to pay.
And that mortgage is?
Probably around $600,000, you know, this is probably a $2 million property.
Behind the brave face, you can see the huge toll this is taking on Bob. And he's worried that he's not the only one. He says that there needs to be drastic changes to the insurance sector so that such lengthy delays to settling claims can't happen again.
I definitely think there needs to be an overhaul of the insurance situation in New Zealand. And the insurance companies need to be regulated, and they need to be held to account when they behave badly. And you know, other countries, this sort of thing wouldn't be allowed to happen. I'd like to see a royal commission into the insurance industry. You know, it's really had a huge adverse effect on people's lives, and you know, in our case, we've been in limbo for 8 years. And
the minister responsible for Southern Response, Megan Woods, is no stranger to this house. As previously mentioned, she and Andrew Little stood in this house in 2016, promising big changes. We invited Megan Woods back here. She said she hopes Bob's claim could be resolved by that alternative dispute resolution process in the coming months.
And there actually is hope for Bob. Hopefully in the next couple of months we can get a resolution of his claim. His family can get their life back together and they can finally get to live in this beautiful house that was a real dream for them. And that is the outcome that I need to see as Minister, and that is when I will call what I'm doing in this role a success.
But she acknowledges Bob has been let down.
Look, I think a number of people have been let down. I think Southern Response have said themselves that they have let Bob down in this instance. Certainly I have not been backward in coming forward that things needed to change. And that when I became Minister, that was something that I was intent on, that we couldn't just continue with the processes that were in place when we took office and expect claims to be settled. And that's why I've used a number of levers to set up alternative ways to settle claims, and we are finally starting to see some traction on that.
On Bob's call for a royal commission into the insurance sector, Ms Wood says she will wait to see what comes out of the current EQC inquiry before looking at anything else. That inquiry, led by Dame Sylvia Cartwright, is now calling for public submissions. But Ms Wood says her focus for now is getting all remaining claims settled.
There's around 500 that are still with Southern Response.
500?
Yes, there's around 500. This time a year ago, I think that was around 1,000. So we have settled 500 in a year. I'm certainly talking very often with Southern Response about how it is that we settle the remaining 500, because it is certainly my desire and something that I have made very clear in the 18 months that I've been Minister, that we need to settle claims.
And that's something that could not come soon enough for Bob. Southern Response sent us a statement on Bob's situation. It says Mr Burnett's claim is technically complex and has had a number of setbacks. Southern Response acknowledges that the way in which they had managed the claim historically has not been acceptable. It also says they expect the remaining 4 customers in the class action, including Bob, to follow the same alternative resolution process as the other 20 customers within the next 2 months. Their expectation is that the process will enable Bob's claim to be settled. In Christchurch for Checkpoint, Logan Chch.